puppies. This is Melody Fletcher, author of Deliberate Receiving. Finally, the universe makes some freaking sense. And today's burning question comes from Awesome Edelweiss, who wants to know, I was wondering what you do when your desired outcome has a time limit. For example, I would love to take my parents traveling and to do what I need to do to change my work situation, more leave, and my financial situation drastically. The thing is, I would like to do this before they're too old to really enjoy it, and there aren't that many years left. Or, I guess the classic example is if someone wants a family before they hit menopause, or while they're young enough to not end up with teenagers in the house when they're ready to retire. I was just wondering if putting time limits on manifestations is most likely to put a limit on them. How do you deal with those things that really do have time limits? Well, Awesome Edelweiss, thank you very much for your question. This is one that a lot of people struggle with. So, of course, the best answer to this is to try to do things without deadlines, to just trust completely that everything happens in perfect timing, and in a perfect world, that would always be the case. But in the real world, we really do have deadlines. And so what do you do when you have a hard deadline? So first of all, determine that you have a hard deadline. So I don't want to have teenagers in the house when I'm retirement age. That's kind of out there, yeah, and that's not a hard deadline. It has to be done by next Friday kind of thing. And so there's that fear of, the fear is not that you're not going to do it in time. The fear in those cases is that you're not going to do it at all. You're not going to get what you want. And that's a different piece of resistance from, I'm not going to get it done in time. And therein lies the clue. Because what deadlines do for us, a deadline basically, if you have a hard deadline and it's manifested, there's agreement with other people, yeah, and it feels good when you first set the deadline, and then maybe it doesn't feel so good as you get closer to it, but all that is an indication by when it's going to be done, not by when you have to get it done. Because remember, it's never about you making it happen. It's about allowing it to happen. So, for example, when I had my book deadline for publishing my book, I recognized that that was the deadline by which I was going to get the book in. Because if I thought about that deadline all the time and thought, oh my God, what if I don't get the book done by then? What if I don't get the book done by then? I would have been focusing on the energy of, what if I don't get the book done? What if I can't do this? Instead of assuming that I can do this and I can relax about it, creating a different emotional state, yeah? And then the deadline is simply telling you, it'll happen by then. Isn't that convenient? You see, we always want the universe to tell us by when something's going to happen, but then when it does, we freak the hell out. Isn't that nice? Yeah? So what a deadline does is it helps to bring up a lot of our resistance. I have to get it done by then. I don't actually trust that I'm going to get it done by then. I don't actually trust that I'm going to get it done. I don't know how I'm going to get it done. I don't know what needs to happen to get it done. And none of that is very useful for you actually manifesting what you want. So the challenge with a deadline is to clean up your vibration and to maintain that trust, that high vibrational state, all the way up to the deadline. And I'll give you an example from my own life, which the shooting of this video is very recent. By the time you guys watch this video, it'll probably be a few weeks on. But I just left Barcelona, and I'm shooting this in Germany. And I had a hard deadline because I was giving up my apartment. I canceled my apartment, canceled the power, canceled the cable, canceled all of that, yeah, and was wanting an easy out. I did not want to have to sell the furniture. I did not want to have to move really heavy things. I wanted to basically take my physical, my personal belongings, the things that I really care about, the things that I got to ship to the United States, and nothing else, and leave everything. And that was what I was envisioning. So someone came into my life that said, I will take your apartment with everything in it. And I said, oh, easy peasy. And then that fell through. And so I had to readjust, because in the first moment I went, uh-oh, is it going to be hard now? Oh, wait a minute, why would I create that? No, it's going to be easy. So I had to readjust and get back into that state of it being easy. And then somebody else came along and says, I will take your apartment with everything in it. Yay! And then that fell through. And it kept going like that until, I kid you not, the week that I left. And I kept holding that vibration. Now, I did create a plan B. It wasn't a plan B that was particularly satisfying, but it gave me that security of I have that plan B, which was to have somebody come and pick up all the furniture. And that would have been pretty easy too, but it was a little bit more hassly than just leaving it all there. And that did manifest. And I thought, well, maybe that's my easy out. But still continue to hold on to that vibration of easy, 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 easy. And then in the last week, I kid you not, somebody came in and took the apartment with all the appliances, all the furniture, and I actually had that easy out that I've been envisioning all along. And when I actually sort of lamented to a friend and said, gosh, you know, really at the last minute, they so helpfully pointed out that I tend to do everything at the last minute. And it all happened in perfect timing, and that sort of is my own personal pattern, that everything always happens at the last minute. So I thought, well, touche. But the challenge of a deadline is really to keep your energy up and keep that trust, which is easier to do when you don't have the deadline. The benefit of the deadline is that it does tend to bring up our resistance and our fears much more viscerally, because now we're putting pressure on ourselves, and that pressure lets us see the negative emotion that's there more clearly. And if you then work on releasing that resistance, on getting into a better and better feeling state and trusting and getting into that, and you cannot fake this. You can't just tell yourself, it's going to be all right, it's going to be all right, when you're actually sitting there full of fear. You actually have to get into a good feeling place and do whatever you need to do that. Yeah, focus on any other topic if you need to feel better, but get into a better feeling place so that you can then trust that it will happen. It will challenge you to do that more when you have a deadline. Then it will manifest every single time. Well, I hope I've answered your question. If you find this content valuable, then please do share it on social media with people who you think might also benefit from it. And if you have any thoughts about this or other questions you'd like to pose, then please leave a comment below or come to deliberatereceiving.com and join the Happy Shiny Puppy Army, a wonderful, loving community of people, of creators, like-minded creators who cannot wait to meet you. Thank you, as always, for watching. Buy the book, shameless plug. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye.